Now, outbreeding devices. What happens, as usually the flowers are hermaphrodite in nature, so autogamy occurs. That is, the flowers are pollinated within the same plant, that is, same flower is pollinated. Now this autogamy leads to what we call inbreeding depression, in which new genetic traits, characters are not introduced. Hence, it leads to inbreeding depression. So, as we have seen that every natural process is adaptable, to overcome this inbreeding depression, the various things which are coming is outbreeding devices. What plants do is they adapt as per the release and sensitivity of the pistil to pollen. That is, when pistil will be reactive, pollen will not be shed. Once pollens will be shed, pistil won't be reactive, so that cross pollination is being promoted. Further, another strategy adapted by plants is different positions of anther and pistil, so that when pollens are released, they are not able to reach the pistil of the same flower. The third adaptation method is self-incompatibility. The pollen and pistil, when they come in contact of the same flower, they don't show any further growth. That is, they are totally incompatible. That is, they reject the further growth of the pollen tube or the movement of pollens across to reach the egg. Fourth method which they use is unisexual flowers. That is, a male reproductive part is present in one flower and female reproductive part is present in another flower. So, there is no inbreeding depression. These outbreeding devices are necessary so that there is cross pollination, that is variety. The number of genetic traits are exchanged, and thus what we call the genetic adaptations are seen. Because if inbreeding depression will be there, same traits, be it positive, be it negative, will be carried across the generation. Now, what is pollen pistil interaction? That is how pollen reaches across pistil to the egg. Pollen pistil interaction is a dynamic process which is accompanied by various chemical components, and many chemical reactions are responsible for pollen pistil interaction. When pollens reach the pistil, if pistil finds the pollen is of right variety, that is the one which is to be fertilized, it accepts, and further pollen tube is grown and pollen reaches the egg. But in case if pistil finds the pollens are not of interest, that is, are not to be fertilized, they reject it, and immediately there is an inhibition towards the growth of pollen tube, and hence pollens are not able to reach the egg cell. Now here, these are the pollens. Now as they reach the pistil, if acceptance is there, the pollen tube is formed like this, which from the synergids enters to the egg cell. These are antipodals, these are polar nuclei, this is egg cell, and these are synergids. Now, it is seen that filiform apparatus is supportive in the formation of pollen tube across the synergids, so that pollens are transferred to the egg cell. If we enlarge this diagram here, this is the plasma membrane, this is the filiform apparatus, this is the egg. Now you can see these are male gametes which are helped through filiform apparatus to the egg, and this is the vegetative nucleus. Now in case of pollens which are shedded at two-celled stage, the generative cell goes to the division and gives two male gametes, whereas in case of pollens which are shed at three-cell stage, already the pollen tubes already have two male gametes which are grown, that is pollen tube is grown and further transferred. Now what is artificial hybridization?